Hey, what's going on? I'm Keith, host of Sports Vibes TV, coming at you with another Knicks video. If you're into Knicks videos, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, that way you're notified whenever I drop a new video. So with that being said, let's get into it. So in today's video, there was some news going around circulating that Julius Randle is most likely going to get moved this offseason. And that's music to my ears. I'm not a fan. When we first signed Julius Randle, I thought he was actually going to be a key contributor and actually help us move forward and become a much better organization and team. But ever since he got here, he's been nothing but a shot creating point forward. I don't know why he thinks he should be bringing up the ball. All he can do is go left with that low spin fadeaway post shot, and we need to get him out of here. So right now, what I decided to do was go over a few trade scenarios in which the Knicks can move away from Julius Randle and also bring in some more experienced guards that can actually help, with the development of RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson. Short disclaimer, these aren't necessarily moves that I would do. I'm just providing them to you for you guys to, review and give your thoughts. So with that being said, let's get into the trade machine. So we're going to be moving Randle. Add him to the trade. Well, no. First, let's pick the team. First team I'm going to go with is Oklahoma City. And you may know what's coming up. So we got Julius Randle. He's being moved. We've got Elfrid Payton. He's going to be moved as well. He's an expiring contract. And we're also going to move Wayne Ellington, another expiring contract. And in return, the Thunder is going to give us Chris Paul. And the reason they will give us Chris Paul has a hefty contract. He's got another 3 years left on it, which is why I personally wouldn't do it. But if you want to make a move that'll actually make waves throughout the league and actually make the Knicks a more respectable organization when it comes to other stars, that's not a bad start with Chris Paul. Chris Paul, as of right now, is the president of the NBA PA. So that means he's already respected by his peers. And another problem with Chris Paul is he kind of butts heads with the players that he's playing with. So that could be a negative. So it'll be interesting to see what would happen if we made this trade. Like I said, Chris Paul, he's had beef with James Harden most recently. He had beef with Blake Griffin. So I don't know how he would gel with the team, but I know when he comes to a team, he pushes his team to be the best. So could that be good for the development of a Mitchell Robinson, who he'd be running pick and roll with? Probably. And it'll also help with RJ Barrett. So that could be something the Knicks look to pursue, but it remains to be seen. We're going to try this trade, see if it goes through, and trade is successful. This trade alone, based on our current roster, ESPN is saying it would add 1 win to our team, which sounds good, is a good start. So let's move on to the next trade. All right, let's start all over. Now let's pick the Knicks again. New York. And the second team in this scenario, we're going with the Washington Wizards. Now, when I was doing these trade scenarios, there aren't that many teams that have the cap space or pieces coming back that really made sense. So the Thunder and the Wizards were 2 teams that fell into that category. So once again, we're giving up Julius Randle. And then we're also adding Dennis Smith Jr. We're going to give him to the Wizards to entice them for this trade. Give them a piece that they maybe can try to work on and see if he can be a reclamation project. And we're also going to give them Reggie Bullock, who is an expiring contract as well. He has this year, and then they can get rid of him next. All right. And in return, I don't want Bradley Beal's stats. Boom. We'll be getting Bradley Beal. Obviously, to make this trade, we are going to have to include some assortment of our first round picks. But, this would bring in a star player. We can move RJ over to the 3. And then all we would need is a point guard to kind of hold the position down and make sure everybody's getting the touches they need and deserve. Or we can even have Beal play sometime at the 1. You don't want him there too often, but he showed in Washington that he had that ability and he could do that, in stints. So this is another trade. The only reason the Wizards would probably do it is, like I said, Randle, he'll be expiring after this year. Same thing with Bullock. And then you have Dennis Smith Jr., who's a reclamation project. They can try to pair him with Rui Hachimura and try to see if they can build something that way. And they'll also be getting some picks in return, seeing that Bradley Beal is a marquee talent. And now we have another trade that we could make. Let me just zoom in. We have another trade that we could end up making with the Wizards. So before we get into that, let me just show you that this would actually go through. Trade is successful. It would add 8 wins to the Knicks, clearly, seeing that the Knicks are currently depleted of talent. And it would be a quick jump start into moving forward and actually building a contender. So let's adjust the trade, because this next trade is also going to be with the Wizards. And you guys are probably groaning right now, but, relax. We'll get into it. All right. So in this one, we're keeping Julius Randle. We're going to add Ellington again, who, like I said before, is an expiring contract. We're also going to continue with Dennis Smith Jr. He's going as well. We have to entice the Wizards with some kind of reclamation project, which would be Dennis Smith. And then we're going to continue with Reggie Bullock. He's a small contract. It's expiring. Teams love expiring contracts because you can be very flexible with them. That's why we signed all those players last offseason, so that they would be technically expiring contracts, because we could decline the team option. And so in this trade, we would be getting back John Wall, and we would also be getting back Isaac Bonga, who, if I'm not mistaken, was a later round pick who has shown some promise. So in this trade, we're getting back John Wall, fresh off Achilles injury, and we really don't know what he's going to be. And the biggest hiccup with this deal is the fact that John Wall is owed so much money. This is not necessarily a deal I would go with personally, but if you want to take that risk and see if John Wall can actually be that player who he used to be when he comes back from that injury, that would be a nice pairing when it comes to the pick and roll with Mitch. And he would be, shooting may be compromised because RJ isn't the best 3-point shooter. But, with John Wall, you would be able to pair him with another star that might want to come in and play. And this is just an option the Knicks can, take. Honestly, with the players that they're giving up, it's really not that big of a deal. The biggest issue with this trade would be the big contract that John Wall is currently signed to. That would be pretty much the only reservations I would have had. If John Wall was on like a 1-year deal, I'd say, you know what, screw it, let's try it, because Julius Randle clearly isn't working out here. And the rest of these players, are players that we can move very easily and can be replaced. So, I didn't get it to Isaac Bonga. Like I said, Isaac Bonga is a later round pick that has shown some promise. He wasn't originally drafted by the Wizards. He ended up being traded over there. So, you guys see the options I provided. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This was completely objective. I wasn't giving too much of my opinions or my thoughts when I was trying to see what trades would be made. I was trying to envision what Leon Rose would do. So you guys tell me, what would you do? Like I said, drop it in the comments. If you like this style of video, make sure you hit that like button and let me know as well. All right. So once again, this is Sports Vibes TV. I'm the host, Keith, and I'm out.